Hey there, welcome to Disney A to Z. Today's video we're going to focus on what rides you're able to take your baby or toddler on. Now, if you go to Disney's website, you can filter the rides by height restriction. They don't actually list rides as baby rides, but what they do show is rides with no height restrictions. So those are the ones that you're able to take your young child on. Now, the focus of this video is rides. We're not going to go into all the different shows. If you go in and sit down in a theater without any movement whatsoever, you can take your baby and toddler onto that. Now, I myself have a young daughter. Here just about a year ago, took her to Disney, and these are some of the rides that we did. But we're going to do all four parks. So we're going to start at Magic Kingdom and Adventureland, work our way around, and then we're going to move on to the other three parks. The reason we're starting in Magic Kingdom is there's the most options there. So let's get started in Adventureland. And first up, we're going to talk about the Swiss Family Treehouse. Now, I know this isn't really a ride per se, but you can take your toddler. It's not a sitting theater. You can take your baby through there. However, I do recommend, if you have a baby carrier of some type, backpack, something like that, especially for really small children, you might want to put that on because there are a lot of steps. Now I know the backpacks may add some weight and make it not so nice on your knees by the time you're done. I know that's what it did to me, but it's still a nice attraction, a leisurely walk through, but it's something that you can do with your young one. Moving on to our next attraction is the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. Now, this is a standard spinning type of ride. You're going to sit down, the arms will go up and down as you're moving around the center post. But again, and you'll see this come up a couple of times. There's a few of these at Disney, the round circular rides. So that's an easy one. Next in Adventureland, we're going to go on to Jungle Cruise. Once again, a nice, slow, leisurely pace. You're all sitting in the boats. The dads will absolutely love it because it is chock full of dad jokes from start to finish. And once you get home, I promise you, you're going to be repeating some of these skipper jokes, and your family is either going to love you for it or hate you for it. But Jungle Cruise is another nice one that you can enjoy with your child. Next on the list is Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, this is a standard dark Disney boat ride, meaning it is super dark inside. So if your young ones are afraid of the dark, take that into consideration. About a third of the way into the ride, there is a small dip. So be prepared for that. It's not like a huge log flume where you're going down a giant hill. It is just a small dip in the middle of the ride. But once you're in there, again, nice slow pace, scenery's cool, but keep in mind about the darkness for your young child. Now, moving on, Frontierland does not have any specific rides for small children. So we're going to skip over Frontierland and go right into Liberty Square. In Liberty Square, you have the Haunted Mansion. Now, this is probably the darkest of dark rides at Disney. And before you even get onto the ride, you do have the stretching room that can be, it's number one, it's dark, but the problem with this, with some small children, is it is enclosed. As they tell you, there are no doors, there are no windows, there's no way out. So once you're in there, just make sure you keep your small child close to you. The lights do go out for a moment, so it is pitch black. But once you get out of the stretching room, you are onto the ride. Now, this is what Disney calls like their Omnimover rides, meaning all of the ride vehicles are connected together and it forms one long continuous track. So there is a moving walkway to get onto the ride. But once you're on there, again, nice and slow. There's nothing fast paced about it. The biggest thing here is how dark it can be if you have small children that don't do well in the dark. Now, moving out of Liberty Square and heading into Fantasyland, this is where I believe most parents with babies and toddlers are going to spend the majority of their time. There's a large concentration of rides that families of all ages can enjoy together, and doing them geographically, moving right along from where we left off. We're going to start with Peter Pan's Flight. Now, the wait times for this can get extremely long. The reasoning behind that is, now it's a classic ride. You are going to be seated in the small pirate ships. I had a brain fart there. But you can only sit so many at a time, and the ride itself can only get so many people through per hour. So that is why wait times get large. So if you do want to do this with your young one, highly recommend doing a lightning lane for it, and trying to cut down that wait time as much as possible. The ride itself, now this one does hang from a railing above, and you will sway back and forth. It is kind of dark inside, so just keep that in mind. But again, all of these rides, nice, slow, nothing fast. But Peter Pan is a classic. Do it at least once with your small child. Right across from Peter Pan, we have everyone's most loved or most hated ride, It's a Small World. Now, with this one, this is a dark boat ride, and I say dark because it's indoors, but this is probably the most brightly lit dark ride on Disney property. You will get stuck at some point inside and be bumper to bumper with the boat in front of you. The song is played on loop. Your toddlers will absolutely love it. You may hate it by the time you get out, because that song is going to be stuck inside your head for the rest of the day. But this is by far little children's. It's one of their most favorite rides. Moving on down a little bit, right behind the castle, we have Prince Charming's Regal Carousel. Standard carousel ride. It's going to spin around. You have different animals or different horses that you can ride. Most go up and down. They do have benches available on the ride, so that if you don't want to ride with your child, some people you see in the video here will stand next to their child while their child rides the horse. But they also have those benches available if you and your kid don't want to ride a horse. You can always sit and still enjoy the ride. Moving on down further, we have the Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is also a dark ride, but this is different than, it's not an omni-movie ride like Haunted Mansion is. Each cart is separate. Now this one does go a little bit faster, and there are some jerky movements involved, so keep that in mind. Nothing too terrible. There's a reason why this doesn't have a height restriction, and you're allowed to take your baby on. It does go faster than an omni-mover ride, but this is nothing that you should be concerned about whatsoever. Definitely a classic ride. And before we make the corner and turn towards Tomorrowland, let's get the couple of rides in the back of Fantasyland taken care of. The Little Mermaid, Under the Sea. Now it's another dark ride, so you're going to be enclosed indoors, but this is another Omnimover ride like Haunted Mansion, in that all the cars are linked together and form one continuous loop. A moving walkway to get on board, so take note of that when you're entering the ride. But this is going to show you all the scenes from the Little Mermaid movie. Just a nice, slow, easy pace ride. Kids definitely enjoy this one. Now over in Storybook Circus, we have Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Now there are 2 Dumbo rides here, and that's just Disney's way of getting more people through the ride, so the wait times don't get too long. In the queue for this, and unfortunately I don't have video on it, you are actually indoors in the circus tent, and there's a jungle gym type play area where they give you a little buzzer thing like at a restaurant to let you know when it's your turn to get into the queue. to actually go out and ride the ride. But in the meantime, your kids are free to play and have fun in the queue, and you're not just standing in line waiting for your turn. But again, this is a standard circular ride. There are controls where you can have your elephant go up and down, but it only takes a minute or two, and then you're done and you're off to the next thing. Now, headed towards Tomorrowland, we got one more stop to make, and that is the Mad Tea Party. Classic teacup ride. The whole platform spins. There's circular parts inside the platform that will spin more, and you can move your individual teacup. You can spin it as much as you want or as little as you want. And that's going to be depending on your kid, if they want to go faster, or if I know my boys, when I took them when they were young, they didn't want that thing to spin at all, and that's fine. So the whole ride spins a little bit, but their teacup stayed standstill. But I mean, you read your kid and you do however they want. Now, moving on to Tomorrowland, got a couple of rides here. We'll start with the one at the top, and that is the Astro Orbiter. Unfortunately, this ride was down whenever we were there, so I didn't get video of it in operation, but it sits on top of the entrance to the People Mover, and just like Dumbo, it's a standard spinning ride with the rocket ship arms that are able to go up and down. A nice easy ride once again, but right underneath the Astro Orbiter is the People Mover. Now, for young toddlers, this might be a little boring because there's not as much bright and flashy to see. Parents, you may love it because it's a nice 10-minute ride where you can just kind of relax, sit down, put your feet up a little bit, and just regroup if it's been a long Disney day. And next to the People Mover, we have the Carousel of Progress. Now, I know I said at the beginning of the video we're not doing theater shows, but the Carousel of Progress, the whole theater moves, so I included that one in this list just because there is some movement, and if you're not aware of what the Carousel of Progress is before you go in, you could be taken aback by that. But this is a nice 20-minute long show, so once again, if it's been a long Disney day, I've been known to take a few naps on this one. I do love Carousel of Progress, but it happens. You may nap here. Great show though. The song will get stuck in your head, just like it's Small World. I promise you that. Right next to Carousel of Progress, the last one in Tomorrowland is Buzz Lightyear. Now, this one has the competition factor in it, where you're not just riding a ride, but you're actually shooting the gun. You have targets to aim at. It is a dark ride. It's all indoors. Nothing slow, or nothing slow, nothing fast. It is a nice slow-moving ride, but you do have controls here. So you can control your ride vehicle to spin left or right so that you can get better aim at the targets inside. Now, the fun part is, obviously, you're competing against whoever you're with. Now, dads, it's okay to let the toddlers win. You can shoot still and not hit the target if you want, and let your 2 or 3 year old win. It's okay, you're allowed. But that one is definitely up there. Wait till they get older, then you can shoot and really compete against them. But just another fun ride. Now, before we leave Magic Kingdom, there is one on Main Street that I didn't mention in the beginning because I wanted to hit that on the way out, but it's the Walt Disney Railroad. Now, this is a typical train ride, but this one is going to take you around the entirety of the Magic Kingdom. There is a stop in Frontierland, and there's also a stop in Fantasyland. So this is one where if you're really just wanting to do Fantasyland, you can hop on the railroad right at the entrance in Main Street, take the railroad around, and hop off in Fantasyland, and then you can do all your kids, all your stuff with your toddlers there. But it's a nice, again, everything for the babies and toddlers, nice and slow moving. There's nothing fast about the railroad, just nice and easy. So that'll wrap up Magic Kingdom. Next, let's head over to Epcot. All right, so in Epcot, we have World Celebration and World Showcase, and we'll go into each of those differently here. So World Celebration, we have 4 different rides that have no height restriction. The first one, as soon as you walk in, it is the icon of Epcot, Spaceship Earth. Now this is, again, this is an Omnimover ride, so you have the moving walkway to get on, the moving walkway to get off, but now this is a nice 8 to 10 minute ride that tells the story of communication back from the beginning of time to current times. Not a lot to really entertain babies or toddlers. This is more for adults, but it is available that you can take your baby or toddler on that. Now, moving on off to the right, once you exit, we'll have the Seas with Nemo and Friends. This is also an Omnimover ride, so indoors. But this one is themed to Finding Nemo, so it is brightly colored inside. There is lots to see, lots to capture the attention for your young children. Definitely, you'll want to hit that one up. Over at the Land, we have Living with the Land, which is a boat ride that kind of tells a story of agriculture and just, being in harmony with the land. So this is a slow one. This is also one that you as adults may or may not want to nap on. I'm not judging and I'm not saying anything, but you've been warned. Moving along, we have Journey into Imagination with Figment. This is also an Omnimover ride. I know we got a few of them at Epcot, but this one tells the story of imagination. Figment is one of the most popular characters of Epcot, so this is definitely one that you want to hit up with your small child. They will definitely love the colors, the sights, the sounds, the smells through Journey into Imagination. Now let's head back to World Showcase. We got 3 back here, and as everyone knows, you go left when you get to World Showcase. If you go right, you're wrong. I'm sorry. But you go left, and we're going to head to Mexico first. And we have the Grand Fiesta Tour, which is a dark ride. So this one is a boat ride. You're going to tag along with the 3 Caballeros through a trip through Mexico. So a nice, slow, leisurely boat ride that your kids will probably enjoy. All right, and the next one is one of the most popular rides in Epcot, and that is Frozen Ever After in Norway. Now, this is a dark boat ride, similar to the Grand Fiesta Tour. Now, the boats are smaller than what you would have at Pirates of the Caribbean, and the biggest thing to caution here, there is a dip like Pirates of the Caribbean, but this one actually goes backwards. So keep that in mind going into it. But this is themed to Frozen, so I know there are like a bajillion young Frozen fans out there, so just be warned that there is that dip. But other than that, your kids are going to absolutely love this. The last one in Epcot is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure back in France. Now, what makes this one unique compared to the other ones we've talked about, so number one, this is an indoor ride. But the carts, the ride vehicles do not run on tracks. So they have sensors, and this one is faster than the Omnimover rides, but they have sensors on the floor that are going to take your cart to specified positions and kind of a ride track throughout. But this one does go faster. There are some quick movements, not some quick movements. Most of the ride is quick movements. But again, just a reminder that if Disney felt like it wasn't suitable for young children, they would have put a height restriction on it. So it is still safe to take your young toddler, your baby on. I took my daughter on this ride. She absolutely loved it, giggled the whole time. So don't be worried about that. But this will tell the story of Ratatouille. Not the story of Ratatouille, but it's based on Remy. So I know there's Remy fans out there. You guys will love this. So now let's jump over to Hollywood Studios and see what we got there. All right. So at Hollywood Studios, we have 2 rides that have 0 height restriction. Now, I don't want you to think that Hollywood Studios has nothing for small children. There is plenty to do. There are a lot of shows. You have the Disney Junior Show, the Muppets. There's plenty to do for small children. So keep that in mind. But our 2 rides that have 0 height restrictions, number 1 is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Now, this is in the building that used to have the Great Movie Ride, and this ride is almost exactly like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So the ride vehicles are pretty much the same. The ride system is the same. There's no track on the floor. The sensors will take you from one point to another, but this one is themed Mickey and Minnie, so there's a lot of bright colored stuff. The animations inside are great. So yeah, if you have young kids that are into the Fab Five and the Mickey and Minnie, definitely want to get them on this. The other one at Hollywood Studios is Toy Story Mania. Now this one, the ride vehicle itself is somewhat similar to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Remy in that it doesn't have a predetermined track that it runs on. There's sensors that move it from one place to another. It's different in that you have one facing one way and there are people facing the other way on your ride vehicle. Now what it does is it takes you to different screens. It is competitive like Buzz Lightyear, where there's something to shoot at each different screen. It has a little a string with a red ball on it where you pull it, and each time you pull, that's what shoots at the screen. So it does have some quick movements, but like you see, it's not fast, and it's nothing that's going to be too jerky. We've taken our small children on this plenty of times. It's definitely a fun ride, brightly lit, lots of colors, lots to take in, but definitely a good ride. So our last park, we're going to head over to Animal Kingdom, and there are a few rides here that we can talk about as well. So at Animal Kingdom, once you enter the park, we're going to go clockwise, just kind of like we did at Magic Kingdom. If you head over to the left back into Avatar Land, the Navi River Journey is our first ride that you can take your baby and toddler on. Now this, once again, kind of tells the story of Pandora and the Avatar movie, but it's a dark ride, boat ride, nice leisurely pace. There are definitely some bright colors in here to kind of go with the Avatar theme. So again, nice, slow, indoor boat ride. Next up, we're going to head back to Africa. The Kilimanjaro Safaris is another one that you can take your toddler with you. Now, this one, it is bumpy. It is outdoors, but it is a safari ride. So you're going to be out there and, tons of animals. If your kids love animals, absolutely that you got to take them on this ride. There's tons to see, tons of different animals. You definitely do this one. Now, while we're back there, you can also take the Wildlife Express train back to Rafiki's Planet Watch. So that one is technically a ride, so we're including it as it's another train ride, but nice and easy. It's not going to take too long, and it's not going fast, anything like that. The last one on our list is you got to get there soon to check it out. The Triceratops Spin in Dino Land. So now this is another spinning ride. The arms go up and down. But the reason I say that you need to get there soon is Dino Land is closing soon. So unless your vacation is scheduled pretty quickly, this ride may not be there by the time you get there. So those are the Animal Kingdom rides that you can take your young ones on. So that's it. That is all of the rides at the Walt Disney World Resort that are you can take your babies on from newborns, toddlers, anybody of any age can ride these rides. So now, reminder that this list did not include any shows. So anything that's a theater, so Animal Kingdom, you have Tough to Be a Bug. There's tons of different things. Magic Kingdom, you have the Mickey's PhilharMagic. Those are not included. You can obviously take your babies and toddlers to any kind of theater show at Disney. But these are the comprehensive list of rides that are available for small children. So that's it. That's going to conclude our show today. I appreciate you stopping by. If you have a moment and if you like the list, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That allows the video to get seen by more people that may be curious about the same things that you are. So once again, I thank you for being here today, and we will see you real soon.